I was a 23-year-old girl who really enjoyed playing games on the internet. This was before Facebook became big, so I looked for fun game websites. But some of those sites were kind of shady. They had problems like bugs and weren't safe. They could even harm your computer with viruses and things like that. Once, when I was really bored, I wanted to find fun games. I looked for things like awesome games or shooting games. Then I found something called Among Us Election and Games of Death. Since I like spooky things, I decided to check them out. At the beginning, the screen was empty. After that, some words suddenly appeared. They said, "Hey, I want to watch someone pass away. Press submit to keep going." Words were in red and seemed like blood. I laughed because it seemed so silly just looking at the screen. But then, the button to submit started flashing, and the words changed, telling me to click. All of a sudden, a strange cartoon popped up. It showed 3 poorly drawn characters, 2 guys wearing masks like the ones bank robbers wear, and a scared woman. One of the guys looked like he was grinning at me and asked if I wanted to watch the woman die. It felt really creepy, like he was speaking straight to me. The choices were yes or no. I felt a bit weird about it, but I ended up clicking yes. After that, a weird cartoon started. There was a man wearing an apron and holding tools, acting like he was in a hospital. He did bad things to the woman in the cartoon, and it made me feel really gross and uncomfortable. The first guy laughed and asked if I wanted to see more. I wasn't sure, but I ended up clicking yes again. The next cartoon showed some guys wearing special diving clothes and another guy in a fancy suit who was tied up near a huge tank of water. They asked if I wanted to watch him get hurt. Feeling unsure, I clicked yes again. They made the guy in the suit go into the tank, and he started yelling. At first, nothing seemed to be happening, but suddenly, something pulled him underwater. It was really scary. Later, I got sick. The cartoons I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore. They were different. They had real people instead. A lady in a messy outfit was on the ground. The voice was still there, but it sounded scarier. I had choices. Yes, I want to try. No, I don't want to try it. And I want to meet you feeling afraid. I chose no. Some people became really mean, wanting me to say yes. I got really scared and closed the website. Later, when I looked back, the website was gone, like it disappeared. Thankfully, nothing bad happened to me, but I decided to never visit strange websites again. I didn't tell anyone about how scared I felt until now. It made me think about those people. Did they get in trouble? Who else did they do this to? How many people were affected? And could it happen again? As time passed, people found out that the police were looking into scary videos online. They found out that some bad people were using a secret part of the internet to make these videos. They were using these weird cartoons to hide the bad things they were doing. Finding this out was really scary. Police tried really hard to find these bad people, but the secret internet they used was very tricky. It was like trying to find something really small in a huge pile of hay. These bad people were good at hiding what they did, using secret ways to talk and going through lots of different countries to hide. But then, cybercrime experts teamed up and worked with other countries. They made a big discovery. They cracked the secret codes and found a group of people behind the scary stuff. The police went to different places in different countries, caught those people, and made arrests. The investigation found something really surprising. These people were in a big group that did really awful things. They made really terrible videos and put them online to make money, using the hidden parts of the internet. The people who were hurt in the videos were found, and the police helped them. This showed how risky the uncontrolled internet can be. It was a big deal, and made people realize we need stricter rules and better online security to stop these terrible things from happening. Finally, the people who did wrong got what they deserved. But even though that happened, the scary thing that happened stuck around. It reminded everyone that the internet is not just good stuff. It also has really bad and risky things. So, it's super important for everyone to be careful, especially when going deep into the internet. I remember this sketchy place online called the Shadow Market. It was a secret spot where people sold things they weren't supposed to. My friends talked about it, how they got some stuff there when our usual person for weed left. My parents were away in Atlantic City, which was the perfect chance. So, I thought, why not give it a try? I got onto Tor and found a website selling a lot of weed. I left a message to check if it was legit. After about an hour, a guy named ILEB messaged me back. He offered a good deal, but said he only sold locally. I pretended I was in Washington, and turns out he was close by, just an hour away. He suggested meeting in my town. I was excited even though he asked some strange questions about where I lived and who I lived with. I didn't want to share too much, so I lied and said I lived alone. Then he wanted to change the meeting spot to an old clothes store on the edge of town. I felt uneasy, but I really wanted the weed. I drove to a place, parked my car, but nobody was there. Then I got a text from someone saying they were coming. I was surprised because they were supposed to be an hour away. I waited for a while, but they didn't text again. I felt something wasn't right, so I decided to leave. When I got home, I found the front door open, even though I remembered locking it. I thought my parents might have come back early. I parked my car and went inside. Upstairs, the light was on in my parents' room, and I heard strange noises. I called out, but nobody answered. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, and I started to panic. My dad's car wasn't there, and nobody replied when I called out for them. I ran quickly to the room, not thinking much, and grabbed a knife from the kitchen. I burst in, but didn't see anyone. However, my mom's jewelry box was open. I used their phone to call 911. Suddenly, something pulled me from under the bed. I used the knife to poke the person's arm, and they cried out. But I couldn't move because I was stuck in the room with the phone cord. I told the police that someone had broken in and gave them my address. The person came out from under the bed, ran to the front door, and drove away in a black Honda Accord. I couldn't tell the police much because I was involved in something illegal called the Shadow Market. Police came quickly, asking lots of questions and searching around. They looked for fingerprints, asked me questions, and kept asking about this place called the Shadow Market. I pretended not to know much, just heard about it, never used it. They wrote things down, but I could tell they didn't believe me. Time passed, and the police kept doing their job. They patrolled our area more. I felt nervous, worried the person who broke in might return. Then, something happened. They made progress in the case. They found the car left a few streets away. The person wasn't there, but they discovered something important, a secret space in the car full of bags of drugs. The police were puzzled, but it was a clue. I felt really scared because I thought someone was watching me. Then, something unexpected happened. A detective contacted me and said they found a connection to something called the Shadow Market. Turns out, it wasn't just one person behind it, but a whole group. They were using hacked accounts to target people who wanted to buy things, and then they'd rob them. The police had a list of victims that kept getting longer. The detective said I was lucky because I didn't fall completely into their trap, but they needed more information to catch these people. They asked me about someone named ILB, but I didn't know much about them. They were clever and covered their tracks well. Cops were frustrated, but they had a lead, a car that might help them catch the bad guys. A lot of time passed, and the problem with the bad guys kept going. But then something important happened. They caught one of the gang members in a different city. He told the police everything, how they found people to steal from, used computers to get information, and did the robberies. There were lots of them, and they were getting bigger. Finally, the police stopped all of them. It was on the news everywhere. The bad place where they were doing these things got shut down, and the police said people should stay away from places like that. It felt good to know they wouldn't bother me again. The whole situation was really scary. I never imagined that trying to get some weed would cause so much trouble. I learned a big lesson: it's best to avoid sketchy places online. You never know what bad things might be there. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. One night I caught my brother Alex on this weird website. It had things that aren't good, like guns and drugs. Normally, we're really close and tell each other everything, but this time he didn't talk about it. When I asked, he finally told me he was buying weed from a cool market online. I told him, it's not just against the rules, it's against the law. But he was really into this thing called the deep web. He said it's all anonymous and safe. I tried to argue that everything leaves a trace, but he was stubborn. He said he'd done it a lot and wouldn't stop. So I watched him do it anyway. He found this new kind of weed called super poison that only had one good review. I said he should find something with more ratings, but he acted like he knew better. The person selling it was from our state, so he thought it would come quickly. He used a fancy program to send his info, thinking it was all hidden and safe. I tried to warn him that he made a mistake, but he didn't listen. About a week later, he got really worried because he hadn't heard back from the person he bought something from. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on our door. I thought the police had come, but it was something scarier. There was this strange guy with messy hair, a fake watch, and a big stomach. He was asking for Alex. Alex got really scared. The guy wanted to know if Alex had bought something. Alex just said he was waiting for it to come. Then, the guy wanted us to go to his van. I told Alex not to go, but he did anyway. I went along because I had a bad feeling. While I was walking halfway to the van, I saw someone wearing a ski mask in the back window. It was hard to see them clearly. The person leading us noticed too and signaled to me. That's when I quickly pulled Alex back home. I only realized the person was following us at the last moment. I locked the door just in time because they started banging on it really hard. Thankfully, a strong guy walking his dog scared them away. I was really scared but hurried to tell Dad, even if it meant telling on Alex. The next day, the police came to ask questions. They investigated a website Alex used and found out it was from the dark web, where people do risky and shady things. They took Alex's computer and things for more investigation. Dad was really angry, but he was more concerned about keeping us safe. Police investigated hard to find the person selling things illegally. They found some clues but couldn't get further. It felt like they were trying to catch something that wasn't really there. At the same time, Alex was really scared, thinking he might get caught. But as time passed, nothing happened, and it seemed like the problem was going away. But then something surprising happened. The police followed hidden messages on the website and tried to figure them out. They discovered that the seller wasn't just selling marijuana. They were involved in a larger illegal business, selling many different illegal things. Something surprising happened. The person who sold us stuff was being investigated by the police for a long time, and they finally caught them. It wasn't just about what they sold us. It was a big deal involving many people. The police told us about it. They found some of the things that Alex had sent, but luckily, they didn't find us because of it. The situation with the van was scary, but it looked like the seller was scared too. They thought the police were coming after them, so they came to our place. It was a scary moment, but things calmed down after that. A lot of time went by, and we stopped hearing much about it. We decided to stay away from the dark web completely. We both learned a big lesson. Alex realized that taking risks there wasn't a good idea, and I found out that some places online aren't just a little shady, they're really, really unsafe. Going through all that brought us closer because we realized we narrowly avoided something bad. We made sure to watch out for each other and only used safer parts of the internet after that. We definitely learned our lesson.